Loading snacks.
What's going on, everybody? The Loaded Snacks crew is here for another episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler Boys.
Yes, and we're here to discuss episode 2 of Secret Invasion. I believe it's titled Promises. So we know where we'd like to start. What grade are we giving this at the beginning of this conversation? Gage, I will start with you.
I give it an 8.
Okay, I'm pretty much there too. Around an 8.5 ish. What about you, Jokes?
I'm at an 8 as well too.
Okay, so solid agreement. So let's just start at the top. I know we touched last week about, I know the Jokes had brought up, wondering why the show started with like present day, and we pretty much get an answer to that a second this one starts, because it flashes back to 1995 with what happened with Captain Marvel and Nick Fury and the Skrulls and all that kind of stuff. It kind of goes back and shows all those moments. Then it jumps 2 years later to 1997, where they're in London. Well, Nick Fury is in London with Talos and a bunch of other Skrulls. It's kind of like I want to bring y'all here to meet the guy who's going to help us get home. And we get introduced to a young Gravik at that point. One of the Skrull ladies brings him in, introduces him to Fury. And this whole scene is based around the promise. Like, this is where that promise came in that they keep bringing up in with Fury and Talos and all that. I want to know, what do y'all think of just how this opens up? In the beginning, Jokes, I will start with you.
I like that we're getting a little bit of the extra backstory. Like, obviously we already knew Nick Fury and relationship with the Skrulls and everything has gone on for decades within the MCU. But to kind of see where like all the pieces are starting to come together. For me, like, I know I'm jumping kind of far ahead, but I'm eager to see, like, you know, if they do that scenario where like Nick Fury is gone and they kind of show that interaction with like the Skrulls at that point. But I like how we're like starting to put those pieces of the puzzle in place. Gravik, obviously, as a young, well, in human eyes, as a young child, wants to kind of join in the fight. And, you know, Nick's initial thing is like, he's too young for that.
Yeah.
And, you know, Skrull is like, you know, the human eyes. So I'm happy to see that, like, that my man really is talented. You know, they're showing where his, I guess you could say, leadership comes from, like building up those type of strings for it. But I think it was a solid way to get us started once again.
Okay, I can agree with that. What about you, Gage?
I mean, I think the thing I probably like the most about this, other than getting that, I guess that moment again that you were saying that they're talking about when they're like, oh, he made this promise, you know what I mean, to us or whatever. It was very direct about the "you keep your word and I'll keep mine" thing. But I think the thing that I felt like was the most unexpected was that in the first episode, I never really felt like they alluded to the idea that Nick knows Gravik. That they you know what I mean, that they have a history, you know what I mean, in some manner that's more than just like Gravik was, you know, just somebody in the background when Nick Fury said this thing, or that, you know, there's all these Skrulls that heard that this guy Nick Fury promised this thing. Nah, dog, you basically said it directly to him.
Yeah.
And Gravik was brought directly to Nick as like, hey, this is somebody who could be a frontline, whatever. So what it says to me is that Gravik isn't just somebody who is very smart and capable as like a child who took a ship, piloted, and escaped from behind enemy lines from the Kree on his own. And again, they're older than they seem when they're children because of that age difference. But also that Gravik has shield-like training that probably came from Nick.
True.
Because they are being introduced and he is asking them to do specific things for him. So to me, all of those people who were in that room, and probably many others, received clandestine information, training, blah, 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 that otherwise they wouldn't be able to use. And he's been using them as spies or whatever for a very long time.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I like how it opened up. I like us getting the answer to the promise. All the things y'all just said. I thought it was a great way to start the episode, and it just kind of continued from there for me with the rest of the episode. Because right after this, it snaps right back to present day, like right after the explosion. It's chaos. Fury's holding, Maria's body, and he gets snatched up by somebody. We don't know who at the moment. And we see Gravik and Gaia just kind of walking off like nothing ever happened. They get in the car, head off. And it turns out the people they only snatch up Nick Fury, they snatch up one of the Skrull people or whatever. And they get taken in two different rides or whatever. And Talos was the one that you see him shapeshift back himself. They got Nick Fury in the truck, got away. We go forward. They're looking for Nick Fury. The military's looking for him. They're on the train asking people if they've seen this man. They go to one door. Lady comes out, like it's a black man in Moscow. Like I haven't seen that like that. Kind of
not in my car.
Yeah, like flirts, little flirty or whatever. So like, all right, cool. We're going to the next person. Close the door. Shapeshift to Talos. You can come out the bathroom now. And then they sit down and begin to have this interesting, intense conversation with Nick Fury. Talking about his, train rides with his mother back in Alabama and eating the food, and they had these games they would play. And one of the games, his mother would like to play is what was it called? Tell me something I don't know. Yeah, you want to go around with that? Talos like, yeah, sure, all right. So, tell me something I don't know about Skrulls that escaped. So, you know everything I know. Yeah, that's not the name of the game, though. The game is tell me something I don't know. So he tells him, okay, it was a million of us, and then, we escaped. So, okay, tell me something about the people that escaped. Yeah, they're all here on Earth. And that kind of sets Nick Fury off. Like, what you mean they here? Like... Yeah, basically, it's not like 1,000 or so, like, you may have thought, like, yeah, all million of us are here. And he gets extremely upset, and they had this very intense argument about, you left, you weren't here, I needed, to get my people here, we're being stalked all around the universe, getting killed, I need to get them here. You can't have these people here, the humans can barely, live here by ourselves without trying to kill each other. You've been here long enough to know that. Like, our species can't get along. What did y'all think about this intense scene between these two in this train? What about you, Jokes?
Honestly, one of my favorite parts of this episode, like that whole conversation with them, it was like so deep. Like, there's a part of me that, like, obviously Nick Fury, when he does stuff, he meticulously does. Like, I felt like he already, I don't know to what degree that he knew already. But then when my man would just say, yeah, they're all million of them are here. And my man was like, are you out your reptilian ass mind? like straight, like it was giving us a little bit more of that information to kind of start filling in pieces to kind of figure out, because if it's only like 1,000 Skrulls here right now, like I feel like Nick Fury could probably manage. But when you say there's 1 million Skrulls that's on this planet and we don't know who they are, like this can't go. And just like you said, my man talking like, hey, listen, two races cannot coexist on this planet. Humans already at war with each other. Like, we on the brink of always killing each other like every single day here. Like, just having them, and I don't know if best of friends is necessarily the way to say that, but they have a very deep relationship with each other with the whole entire thing that's been going on. It's just, my man didn't know the thing. He's like, you lied to me. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, Nick, let's be real here. There's something that you probably haven't said to this man either, because we know how you roll. We know how you keep
secrets upon secrets. Yeah.
So we didn't get to that point where Talos was going to start. All right, you tell me something about this whole plan that you had together. I mean, obviously, my man was gone for 5 years, so obviously, I'm pretty sure they put 2 and 2 together that he got snapped. But it's going to be irrelevant to him because it's like, listen, you promised us a new planet. But I love that whole scene between the two of them, though.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was important for them to kind of have that out. I thought it was powerful. What did you think about it, Gage?
I mean, look, it's probably one of the most important conversations we've ever seen take place in the entire MCU. You know, Nick does what he does. You know, he tends to have, whenever he gets a kind of a speech moment, he goes back to, you know, something with his grandfather, like in the elevator, you know what I mean, in Civil War when he's talking to Cap or Winter Soldier. So him kind of referring back to those things and talking about what it was like for him, talking about segregation, again, speaking to some of the same things that I think would be, that makes sense for another species trying to come be on this planet. Like him having a very Samuel L. Jackson loud, like, you lied to me, Talos. You know, I was like,
had a few of those in this episode.
Yeah, like, hold on. I mean, you know, Talos is like, I mean, you lied to me. You know what I mean? Like, and you really get a good, I think, perspective on where the Skrulls are in all of this, how they feel and why it's gotten to where they are. Is very reminiscent of, I think, the way that the people who were misplaced when people came back from the dusting, and that, you know, that we saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier, those people, like, imagine that you're a Skrull, you know what I mean, and that happens to you, right? For that matter, imagine you're a Skrull that got dusted, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you just, you know, you show back up. So I was a little surprised though that it didn't, I will say this, it didn't quite feel like, the intensity level still didn't feel to me like Talos, get out. Like, he told my man, get out, like, this is your stop, as if he's in charge or something on that. Like, I don't know, there was something I didn't like that. Like, that felt wrong to me, but there has to be a reason why they needed the two of them to separate. Obviously, we follow Nick, you know, the majority through this, but I did dig the intensity and dig, you know, some of the insight that they gave us that came from that conversation, for sure.
Yeah, that was a really great moment. Really, really great conversation and interaction between the two. After this, the scene switches to, after he, you know, kicks him out, we switch over to the tarmac where Maria Hill's body is being sent back to the United States. And we see her mother there, of course, emotional. And she happens to kind of looks off and see somebody. And of course, like, oh, she sees Nick. He's standing off to the side somewhere. And she goes over there to try to get some answers from Nick. And he, you know, doesn't want to, you know, really tell her everything. But she kind of digs into him like, look, dude over there said that generic BS. And yada, I know. I want to know what happens. She looked up to you like, tell me the real thing. And he tells her she died in Moscow. And it was somebody trying to hurt me by hurting her. And then she hits him with the, oh, so it's your fault why my daughter's dead. And you can see that it hurts. It hurts for him to hear that, but it's, you know, technically the truth. But then she kind of like, well, pretty much gives him the, don't make it be in vain, like, go settle this and do what you got to do type of deal. And walks off. He's like, all right, you know, that's exactly what I'm going to do, pretty much. So that happens. And then we get like these series of news clips, and with the prime minister talking about what happened in Moscow, and you got your like little Fox News pundit guy, you know, rallying the troops, all that kind of stuff. They're showing all these different news clips, which is important in the next scene, because what follows that is Garrick and Gaia are driving, and she's asking him, you know, how come you don't just kill Nick Fury? And he gives the villain kind of speech of, nah, I want him to suffer. You don't just, you know, kill him. Like, you gotta let it sit. You know what I mean? You gotta let him sit in it for a while before you do that.
They say you don't punish a person by giving them what they want.
Yeah. But they pull up to this place, like a hotel or something. They walk inside. It's security. He starts to head back to where security is. They don't want to let Gaia back there. He's like, cool, relax, Gaia. Gives her his gun. Yeah, dude does anything to shoot him. Like,
if I'm not back in an hour,
yeah, just
in the head.
Yeah, like, all right, Garrett, okay, I like it.
Grab it, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And he goes back into this room, and we're seeing people that we just saw in those news clips. We're seeing the prime minister sitting there. We're seeing the head of NATO sitting there. And it was, who else was it that we know of already? That was right. It was the third one that we know of what his like place is in the world. And there's some other people we haven't been introduced
to. You talking about the fake Fox News?
Yeah.
You talking about Shooter McGavin?
Yeah. Shooter McGavin. I said the same thing when he showed up. But here's the funny part. As soon as I saw Shooter McGavin, I looked at Tony, I was like, hey, he's a Skrull.
Definitely.
He's a Skrull.
There's no reason for him to be there if he's not an alien, bruh. It's incredible.
So they sit down, he comes in, they're like, okay, he's finally here, and they start to discuss what happened with the explosion and everything. Some people thinking you're going too far and such, and he gets in his, like, you see what the humans have done all this time, like, we've been lied to, Fury lied to us, he's, upset, pissed off. Jokes, what's going through your mind here as this scene is happening?
So, initially as they came in, obviously Shooter McGavin, I was like, oh, you a Skrull. But then as the conversation started to shift and we started to talk about our people, I was like, oh shit, almost all of them in here are Skrulls. Like, I was thinking maybe one of them was human, maybe the opposite side of the Nick Fury side, and maybe there's a human in a high place that's also trying to help them out. Mm-hmm. But quickly we realized they're all Skrulls.
Oh yeah.
Skrulls have placed themselves in these high positions in Russia. And I'm like, yo, like I said on the last episode, I was like, the president of the United States is a Skrull. And after seeing this, I'm like,
there's a part of me that thinks that's not the case. The only reason why I say that is because I feel like, bruh, I mean, let's not get it twisted. You have somebody who's like the prime minister of the UK. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have people in very high positions. And then you have a dude who's like a news reporter. But again, if you look at all of what's happened in the last like couple of years, all the lies and the stuff that they spew or whatever, like they can certainly turn the narrative and make certain things. Mm-hmm. Again, he was the one who was shouting like, there's no way that was an American that attacked blah, 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 whatever, right? And it's like the person who was saying that is clearly a Skrull. But it just seems to me, and again, I could be wrong, but I feel like if the president of the United States is a Skrull, why isn't he on that council? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the other thing about it that's really weird to me, and this is like just one of those things that stands out, is that this council, which seems to be of all of these Skrulls who have managed to either work themselves into very high position or replace people who are in very high positions somewhere, right? That there's some sort of a strategy to it. Why is Gravik there? He's nobody. Like, compared to the rest of them, all of them are like high up in government something somewhere. And so I feel like maybe they're going to get to it. I feel like maybe they haven't quite established why Gravik is as important as he is in the grand scheme of things. Like, there is some of that missing. Again, what you were talking about earlier, Jokes, of that. I hoping that they show some of that time when Fury was dusted, that 5-year period, because I do kind of want to see that move to power that put Gravik in a position where he could walk into a room to go meet the council. Like, dog, why are you even on the council? Like,
I think, yeah, especially from starting as a kid when we first, like, up until now, like, what happened in between then?
It just he seems kind of out of place. You know what I'm saying? But again, he made an allegiance with, like the prime minister or whatever, who UK, who at that point is like, the rest of them are mad. Like, hold on, you planned this with him, like you knew about this, whatever. And again, that speaks to the fact that there is also dissension in the ranks within.
Yeah, because homeboy tried to get Buck at the table, and
hey, listen, that chop that he took to the throat.
What? That was a clean one. I just looked at it.
Hey, listen, even as a Skrull, like, this joint is a weakness.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I do. Chop in the throat.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
Hey, I do want to say this though. Shout out to security in that room, dog. Like, and here's the other thing. It feels to me like Gravik was clearly the person in charge in that room, because he got there and the security's already there. They won't let Gaia in. He tells Gaia, shoot Slim in the head if I'm not out in an hour, right? But
and look, they was gonna let him walk in with the gun too.
Oh yeah, no doubt, right? But then once he's in there, like, who are they protecting and whose authority are they under in terms of being the security that's in that room? Because when Slim started wilding, my man it was so smooth how he just calmly walked over and put the chop on. It's like nobody even saw it coming. And the next thing you know, my man is gasping, you know what I mean, for air. And then he looked at like grabbing and was like, y'all want me to, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, and they just like, nah.
Yeah, she's
you know what I mean? Like,
I think he's got the point. I think he gets it now.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, who do they answer to? And it seems to me like they would answer to Gravik anyway. So there is a weird kind of a power situation that's happening here, which to me says that in some manner is going to be their undoing. That there's a power struggle within
the ranks.
You know, yeah, in some sense. So, also one of my favorite parts of this episode.
Oh yeah,
I might get chopped in the throat, bro.
I'm with it.
Because it comes out of nowhere. That's what made it so great. It was a clean one.
But here's the thing that kind of blew me about it is like, I was kind of banging with Slim. Like, I love that he was like pushing, like he's standing up and going to Gravik. Like, man, I ain't scared of you. You know what I mean? Whatever. And Gravik, and that's why I like Gravik, because Gravik was just like, all right. Now go ahead and let him just choke on that for a little bit. You know what I mean?
He get it. He knows what the deal is.
It was just very much of like somebody in that room had to be very much the who do you think you are?
Mm-hmm.
For him to let the one lady like, okay, sister, you can leave. Like, it's cool. I don't know if she'll have contact with the same dude who's angry about what Gravik, you know what I'm saying, just did, and how he just kind of usurped power from the council and became like the wartime leader of everybody. Now everybody answers to him. But somehow I feel like the fact that happened and he just let her walk out, either he's extremely cocky or he's extremely smart and has to know the first thing she's going to do
is make some calls.
Contact Talos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he wants Talos to know what's popping. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Mm-hmm. So
I thought that was interesting too, them letting her leave like that. I was like, nobody's going to follow her or kill her in the alley or something.
100%, bro, because when she walked out, and got on, she was on her phone before she left the job.
No, in front of the people. I'm like, she's just obvious with it.
She was rapping a taste like,
yeah.
Listen, like, you're not gonna get in the car. Hey, listen, I just knew, dog, she was gonna get in the car and the car was gonna blow up.
Something like that.
She was gonna get in the car and they was gonna take her and dump her somewhere. When he said, you can go, sister, I was like, oh, nah, she ain't gonna make it. She walked out and started talking, and I'm like, oh, they definitely about to kill her. Bruh, she didn't die. That show was amazing, dog. She was supposed to get killed, bruh.
Hey, she was smart to not get in that car. I hope they don't do that off screen. We don't see. We come back to the next episode. Yeah, she got in the car and that joint blew up after that conversation. Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way she survives this.
No. She's gonna die at some point.
Hey, dog, but if she survives, bruh, she's witness protection. She's the one.
She's the one.
Also, the Batman witness protection, you right, has to be a scroll, dog. Has to be a scroll for Slim to just change. And they'll never find them.
Could be.
Wham.
No witness protection is like you have to change face like every day or every week or something like that. It's like, and we won't know where you are, but you're in our witness protection.
Nah, they don't know that the Batman witness protection is a scroll, dog. They can't know that. Then take your show back.
No, it's all good. But there was something else that was said in the meeting I just do want to highlight. When they asked him, what about the Avengers? He was like, you think I haven't already thought about that? Do y'all think?
Very important.
Do you think that one of the Avengers is a Skrull?
No. Not at all.
That's why they're keeping
the Avengers are gone. That's why he's already thought about it. I mean, again, unless that person is Rhodey.
Okay.
Because again, currently they don't have the ability to duplicate powers, which we'll get to, I guess. Mm-hmm. But Rhodey don't have any powers.
He don't got no powers. Just got that suit.
Yes, he's titanium.
And when he said that, I know you're gonna get to that, but when he's talking about, I'm gonna put this suit on, I'm gonna go smash such and such. I was like,
Yo, if Slovakia look at me like that one more time, I miss that dude.
Was great.
I miss him, bro.
He was busy getting frustrated with them the entire time during this little meeting.
Hey, no, her whole attitude
was great.
She needed.
But before that part, Gravik and Gaia get back to the plant. Everybody's cheering and clapping and patting him on the back. You know, Garrett's kind of just smooth with it, walking through the crowd, meets up with one of the guys, a little whispering in the ear, and the head and Gaia's in the back, kind of like. One thing I thought was interesting this whole episode is every time they show Gravik and Gaia, it's always tense because it's like you don't know if he knows about what she did by like pretty much snitching on them, and she's like in the same place too. Like, all right, does he know? Like, do I run for it? Do I still try to get information, or do I stay close to him still? Like, it's tense every time when those scenes come up between these two. And I do like that about this. Like, it keeps you on the edge and it keeps you on your toes, wondering what's going to happen between these two. But as they're in there, him and the guy have a little quick conversation. We don't know what's being said, but they walk off. She's following him through the place, like at a distance, kind of seeing where he's going. And they end up in the room with this scientist and asking questions about what's going on. There's all this stuff going on here. And she's like sneaking, trying to figure it out. They power up this machine. And it, it lights up and everything. And then she's watching everything, goes into the room, get on this computer, and is kind of researching, trying to get more information, even though she's not supposed to. Gravik runs up on her. She quickly changes the screen and, says she's looking up the new recruit. He's doing well. I think he's adjusted. He might be almost ready. And it's one of those tense moments where, like, he might know you're lying right now, but we're not sure. But it's like, I'm going to keep you close type of thing. I thought that was interesting. And then we get into the scene with Rhodey that we're, just currently talking about.
Hey, hold up. Before you, I think we engaged in the same place. Now,
what's on the screen?
Did you see what was on the screen? And some of the names that showed up on the screen?
I don't remember what they were. But I'm pretty sure it was an Easter egg of some point.
And listen, the first name that showed up on that thing that she was looking at was Groot. That was
on there.
That was the first name.
Who was on there?
I sat up in my seat a little bit because once I saw his name show up, I was like, "Oh, this is the list here. Let's start going." And if I'm not mistaken, Gage, was it other one that was on there? Was it from the what was the one-off Marvel thing with like
the werewolf?
The werewolf.
No. So it was Groot.
Mm-hmm.
It was Frost Beast. The dog joints that were from like Asgard or where Loki's from. That one came to Earth during Thor, the Dark World or whatever, and it was Cull Obsidian, the big dude that was with Thanos. that got his hand chopped off by
Doctor Strange
and Attack on New York when Doctor Strange did the thing. His hand. They showed a picture of his hand, and then the other joint was Extremis.
I saw that. Yeah, that one I was like,
from like Iron Man 3 when they were doing that thing where they was all turning red and whatever. So all four of those joints. So and they all said something about DNA. So it's like clearly they have had people there again for a long time. We know that, but they've been going and retrieving these things and getting DNA. From these events that have been happening with things on Earth, like for them to have pieces of Groot, like that had to come from the battle with Thanos, you know what I mean, or something like, because how else, right?
Yeah.
And here's what's interesting. It was 4 samples, right? And listen, y'all know I like to do a little reaching.
Go ahead, please.
But Super Skrull has 4 abilities. He can stretch, which Groot can do.
Groot.
He can do like the thing has the big strong brute joint, which Cull Obsidian is a big strong brute joint. Extremis is like being on fire. Which would be like fantastic, you know what I mean? Like we're hitting the fantastic, and I feel like the only thing that's maybe missing is like some Sue Storm kind of invisibility skills. But like
as far as working within the MCU, it looks like
they were going to introduce a Super Skrull, right? There's a like part of me was initially leaning towards they're gonna just try to do something so that Skrulls can mimic the powers of superpowered individuals, which is a thing that happened in Secret Invasion, and they found out people had been replaced a long time ago. But that is a thing that happened. But also, Super Skrull was clearly a thing, and the abilities that they showed almost perfectly mimic. Yeah, like what they would be if you don't have a Fantastic Four to pull from already.
How do you create this Super Skrull in the comic?
That's gonna have that skill set. They're like kind of on it. The other thing that was interesting to me though was that I cannot think of dude's name, and I did the same thing when we talked about him in the last episode. He's kind of like Gravik's like second in command, and he's the one who he goes back to talk to the doctor, and the doctors are the Daltons. That was the name that she looked up when she went to the computer, was
Dalton,
Dr. Dalton or whatever, to see what information they had or whatever. But the conversation that the two of them were having when he was talking to the doctor, you know, he was like, how's it coming or whatever, and she was like, it ain't working or whatever. And then he said something about like every cache that Gravik has sent us to, or all of the joints he's been sent us, they all been empty, or they've all turned up nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, right? So it would appear that either Gravik has knowledge, which again could be coming from having these people in government that know about clandestine things or whatever. Like, hey, this thing happened, shoot somebody over there to try to get somebody to grab a DNA sample or to do, you know, whatever. But he says like everything's turned up dry, and then he says something along the lines of like your fearless leader isn't always right, or something like that. He made note of the fact that like Gravik doesn't always know what he's talking about or isn't always correct, which to me shows either a certain level of frustration that like Gravik think he knows so much, or he thinks he's so smart but he's not, whatever, which could mean that there could be an issue between the two of them. Right? If maybe Gravik is trying to put himself in a position to be quote unquote a Super Skrull, and maybe not necessarily get it to everybody or whatever, or this dude is going to be like, nah, you don't deserve that power, I want that power or whatever, and maybe he does that and that becomes an undoing or whatever, right? Or somebody's got to be a test subject, and he ends up being
I think Gravik probably is the test subject. Like, I don't think maybe he won't have all the abilities. I feel like maybe he's been implanted or has at least one of them to kind of test it out and feel. Like, I feel like we'll know in the next episode. I feel like my man gonna put hands on somebody. Somebody gonna get those.
He's put some hands.
That's what I'm saying.
You put some hands and bullets on people.
I don't know who it's gonna be. Maybe it'll be Rhodey has to come out in the suit, and maybe he got to put the hands on Rhodey, so he's got to use the ability. I don't know, but he finna do it. I feel like in the next episode.
But we head back to this meeting that the U.S. and the United Kingdom, France are all having together because they're upset. You know, there was I was about to say humans. There was Americans, you know, at the site of Nick Fury and Hill, you know, at the site of the explosion. So of course everybody wants answers, you know, and they send Rhodey there to, you know, talk to him, if you will. And they're pressing him, but he's giving them the business right back. You know what I'm saying? Like we said, that one country was, you know, stink facing him the whole time, and and he was getting pissed off. I'm pretty sure they were getting pissed off with Rhodey because he really was giving them the business. Like, hey, look, we don't know if that's real, you know, whatever.
Hey,
like
the word of the day, allegedly. Like,
there you go.
Allegedly.
Like, we'll give us the footage. We'll look at it with our experts, and you know, we'll decide. You know, if that was allegedly Nick Fury. You know, we don't know.
They're private citizens.
Hey, you know, look, I can't take, like, he's like, you know, try not to take this too, but like, I can't trust photos that came from Russia. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what
fake news.
Yeah, like, come on, man.
Yeah, but great. He leaves, and as him and his, you know, security team are, you know, walking out the building, he gets a phone call from Nick Fury. You know, so they're having their back and forth, like, the little clandestine kind of talk, but it's funny at the same time. He said, "Oh, what is it? Did they is such and such giving you a hard time?" He said, "Why you just carpet bomb him?" That was hilarious.
Yeah, because he clearly could see and or
everything,
could hear
everything. Yeah,
in that room.
Yeah. Nick Fury is the spy of spies.
He's getting back into that bag of his.
Yeah, and then they decide to meet up at a bar to have out the conversation about what happened in Moscow and such. Rhodey heads there. They sit down. Everything's empty. It's just them having a conversation, and Nick starts to kind of, as he's asking them, what happened. Fury starts to break down everything with the Skrulls. Like, do you know who that guy is right there? Your security guard? Like, it's about the Skrulls and this whole conversation. I thought this was also a great conversation that they had, and it's between him and Rhodey about how much does he know about the Skrulls and why do we work so hard to gain this power, work so hard to be in these positions of power, to do things. Once again, Jokes, what did you think about the conversation between Rhodey and Fury in this moment?
Nah, good information. And like we really learned, like Rhodey has really been knowing a lot of this for a very long time. Like he told Fury, like when Fury first asked him, how well do you trust, your security detail? And he could already see it on Rhodey's face that he was like, he already knew. And Rhodey was like 15 years ago, he was a part of a very, very private meeting about this invasion, like these ships that came and crash landed down. So Rhodey's known for some time. Like obviously Fury hasn't really kept the whole Skrull thing super secret, but like certain things that people knew. But Rhodey definitely knew a lot more than what he actually did. But also them just having, because I like seeing Rhodey in this position now. Like we've seen Rhodey go from being just the wingman for Tony Stark to getting into the military, into these positions. But now my man is like at the table. So this is kind of where I go to Gage, where he says that this dude Rhodey is probably a Skrull, and I'm like, this dude is in one of the positions that he could truly be in now. And Nick is like, listen, I helped you get to this spot, but at the same time, Rhodey's like, listen, I'm doing my job right now. My job, I'm shutting you down. Like you're not going to do this. This is a wrap. Like
I like Rhodey having some spice. I like Rhodey having some spice with him.
I had to use all my political capital to get Maria Hill's body back to the States from the Russian. Like he was putting the press on Nick about it. And of course Nick is like, oh, so what, this is like a political thing now? Is like, listen, that's what this job is.
He said, I'm here as a political envoy. This is politics.
Like this is what the job is. And like we're trying to keep our seat at this table right now. And like what you're doing right now is completely destroying that. Like everybody that we had that was on our side now, with that little stunt that you just pulled, they all Team Russia now.
Yeah.
Like he was putting the press on Nick at that table.
Yeah, even when Homeboy came over, the security dude was like, yeah, your car's here. And Nick is like, Rose will tell you when he ready to leave. He's like, nah, bro, that's for you. It's like, you getting out of here. Like, very real moment. What about you, Gage? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's some there's conversation that, look, as a panel of black men sitting in this, having this discussion, I think that there is some very real discussion that happened right then and there that probably went over a lot of people's heads. That idea of like, hey, I looked out for you to get you here, like, yo, like hold tight, my brother. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just, like, I do feel like there was like that. I honestly feel like was such an important moment, because the two of them, it's almost like Nick was leaning on that. Hey, though.
Yeah,
come on, bro.
You know what I mean?
Like,
look out for each other.
Yeah, like we gotta look out for each other. And he's like, nah, bro. Like, what we don't do is when we do get to these positions, because we did the right thing and we looked out for each other, is we don't check each other. We gotta make sure that we still check each other and make sure that we do the right thing. We can't let it go. Oh, because you know what I'm saying, whatever. I gotta do my job. Right? Like, you got me this job not because of the color of my skin, but you got me this job because I earned it. You helped me get in this position because you knew I was a person who could do the job. So now I have to do the job, right? And so I just feel like that was so much more poignant than probably a lot of people would ever really catch on to. And then like the fact that it backfired when my man was like, hold up, because he said to him like, you must have forgot your position, because like a colonel should be higher, like a Colonel Nick Fury technically should be higher than where Rhodes is. But the thing about it is we don't really know what Rhodey's designation is. Like they haven't told us like what his position is, you know what I'm saying? And it's weird, but like again, we know that in New World Order or Brave New World, which is what the new Captain America movie is, that Harrison Ford is the president.
Yeah.
But the character that he's doing the role of now, because William Hurt passed away, was Secretary of State. So something is going to happen to this president, which is why I think he's probably not a Skrull, right? That like either he gets found out and he is a Skrull and they have to remove him, which how would you do that? Or because then everybody's got to know.
Yeah.
Or he dies in an attack that is set up to make it look like, you know, something else is going on.
I think that's the one. I think that's the one with Garrett and the Skrulls and all that kind of stuff with this. Yeah, I think he'll get assassinated.
My man said, hold up, bro. They sent you to fire me?
It's like, no. I volunteered.
I know. It was like, woo.
Also, like, I know you ain't think this boy was getting ready to come take me.
Right.
I know you ain't think Slim was taking me to a car. And Rhodey was very Rhodey in that moment. Like, come on, man.
Hold on, man. Come on, man.
Like, don't, like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't. I'm trying to keep it. You know, he knew he wasn't going. He knew he wasn't going to be able to get him, man. And my man just kind of walked out of that joint.
Oh, no, he walked out of that joint. He's like, fire him. He's like, listen, when I'm out, I'm in. Like,
even when I'm out, I'm stealing.
Even when I'm out, I'm in. You know, which like to me is like maybe he's not as, I don't know, old and out of the game as he has been. I guess you can see a lot from space. You know what I mean? But you miss a lot of the minor. Clearly, all of this happened right under his nose. Right?
Straight up, yeah.
But it wasn't just happening while he was in space or while he was away.
Not a million Skrulls.
It's been brewing.
Yeah.
When he disappeared and my man Gravik was like, yo, I had to put the beacon out. I had to call him and say, hey, look, this is it. This is the only opportunity we got. So y'all just come on in. Yeah.
And even when you came back, you stayed up there. Like, you stayed out of it.
But I will say this. He put on a good show, but when my man walked out, he had to sit down.
Oh yeah.
My man walked out and sat down. I was like, whew.
My man should have
tried to go too hard. That boy might have took me to that car, bro. Might have took me to that car.
My man didn't do no stretches before coming in there. He should have at least did a little workout or something. But at one point, I thought that I was like, as he's sipping the whiskey or whatever that was, he got the second cup. I was like, oh, my man finna get poisoned right now.
I thought it was like a sleep agent. They was gonna like force him in the car and make him leave.
Me too.
Yeah, because once that second glass
he asked
came up,
about it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, when he first,
when that second glass came up, I was like, oh, they finna get Nick Fury. It's either that or that joint had like some type of tracker in the joint. And like that's all. Like, I really feel like that's still a part of it, but
I thought it was something with the second drink.
I think one of the things that's really cool about not just what they're doing with the show, but like moments like this is that, you know, Nick Fury has always been this person he's never vulnerable. He's always he's always been 3 steps ahead in some way, shape, or form, right? He knows things that people don't know. He knows things that people don't know he, you know, should know or whatever. And so even when it seems like he's in a place where like technically he would be vulnerable, he's like, I have friends who can take care of stuff. That's why I put the Avengers Initiative together in the first place, because I knew at some point there was going to be something bigger than what we can handle. You know what I mean? And so the idea that this is a person who not only seeded the Avengers Initiative, but has been secretly employing Skrulls, probably all throughout Shield, and you know what I mean, and whatever else. And, you know, look, when we saw Nick Fury, like when we hadn't seen him forever, and we got that after credit scene where it looks like he's on the beach and he gets up and he's in the spaceship, and he's barefoot, you know what I mean? It seems like he's chilling. Everybody, every other person on that joint was a Skrull. Every other person on that ship walking around was a Skrull in the background. So I don't know if they're just like people he knows and he been cool with, and he's just like, yeah, and they just don't, they walk around freely like that when they're with him, you know what I mean, up there. But
that's what I'm thinking.
It's and you know, him being vulnerable, I think is the biggest crux of what's happening in this show, is seeing him in positions where he doesn't have all the power.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about these past 2 episodes so far. I said that in the first one, like just seeing him like this, you know what I'm saying, not the Nick Fury that was, and seeing how he gets back to, you know, being that person is one of the things I'm enjoying the most about this show.
I just mean, even like, not just him not being as fast as he was, or not, but him just not having the clout that he, like, walking in, like, again, he's got some slick stuff. He can contact Rhodey, nobody else can hear. Clearly he was listening on a conversation, but he just walked in that joint like, yeah, I'm Nick Fury and I'm here with, you know, whatever. And this dude fired him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no,
hey, that was real.
Like, you fired, bruh. And he was like, what
you mean?
Like, it was like this shock to him, because again, he may have been winded, may feel a little old. Yep, this is what happened to Hill, but I still got clout. Like, I'm still Nick Fury. And he had to remind himself and Rhodey of that by saying, I'm Nick Fury. Even when I'm out, I'm in, you know, or whatever. It's good to see him vulnerable in so many different ways.
But with the next scene that we move on to is really the one action scene we have in this whole entire episode. The MI6 lady that we were introduced to in the last episode, she turns into like this. I feel you.
He's my favorite person.
Her swag is great. Yeah, she comes into this, it's like a deli or something. It's closed for the evening. She walks in, the guy behind the counter is like, how'd you get in? The door's locked. She said, yeah, that obviously doesn't mean nothing to me. Like, yeah. We're
clearly now you see how me and Locks work.
Yeah.
This is above your pay grade. Where's
I was like, at? Who? Exactly. I said, I'm above your pay grade.
Yeah. So the other guy that got taken away in the beginning from the explosion, the Russians are in the back torturing him. And they're not getting anywhere with him whatsoever. So she is there to expedite the process, if you will. So
I'm taking over.
Right, and that's exactly what you're saying. She goes in the back like, yeah, talk to him on the phone. Okay, the guy on the phone pretty much gives the green light. All right, everybody out.
Hey, dog, who do you think she put Slim on the phone with? She seemed to me like she's at the top of the joint. Like, if she walked in, you know what I mean? Like, oh, snap, so-and-so's here. And if she says, I'm taking over, you just be like, oh, all right, my bad.
I'm thinking somebody high up in Russian government. Somebody high up in Russian. Yeah. Like, for just that simple phone call, and they be like, all right, bet, like, you got it. She told everybody, get out. They leave. She puts
and my man hit the super expedition on get out of this room. Like, one of our wrap it up shows. Dude was like, no, we just get up out of here.
Yeah, he struggled grabbing his little coat off the rack, couldn't get it, and all right, out.
Yo, I had to put a hole in that jump, bro.
It didn't happen like that. They just kept it in there.
Yeah,
don't take it out.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be that quick pull off, and it was like, nope.
No, and of course our Skrull guy, you know, you're not gonna get nothing out of me. All right, yeah. Once over, cut his finger off. Just.
Hey yo.
Well, that proves it. That proves it. Like, she's just so like, we ain't got time. Like, all right, she pulls out this little needle with this blue liquid in it, explains to him what it is, that it's gonna hurt. The smart people kind of say something over it, but you're not that smart, are you? He starts talking trash. Yeah, I thought so. Stabs her with it, and it starts what looks like burning the living hell out of him from the inside out.
The first thing I thought about Extremis was the very first thing I was like, oh, she didn't cooked up a Skrull extremist version. And listen, the regular extremist is bad as it is. Like, if this joint can like harm the cells of Skrulls, like.
Yeah, and it didn't take too long, honestly. He tried to resist it first, but once she hit him with that second dose, he just starts spilling the beans, you know. And we find out that machine that, you know, the guy had found at the nuclear plant they're trying to give Skrulls power, like we've been saying. And at this time, Gravik and his man are approaching the building to come in and get their guy back. And that's when we get our action sequence. As action junkies, Gage, what did you think of the action sequence?
I mean, look, it was all right.
Okay.
They was gone. Now, it was all right, but, you know, it's the details, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once they got in there, they was crushed grooving. They was in there punishing, right? But, like, they shot my man. Like, Slim told my man, go get me some sausage.
He died over the sausage.
I don't know why, but that joke was hilarious to me, though. He said, go get me some sausage. And my man went out that joint and picked up a sausage and was getting ready to chop my man a nasty piece of uncooked sausage, bruh. And as he goes to chop that joint, blip, blip, he gets 2 in the chest, right? Silencer. I'm like, wow, okay. But and then Gravik again showing how clean, again, this is a trained individual. Feels like a little fury or whatever it is. Reaches up, grabs the bell, opens the door so they don't make any noise coming in. However, sir, you just shot a man in a deli who fell into a rack of cans and beans, bro.
I said the same thing. I was like, none of y'all heard that?
That's out of the bag, bro. I don't understand what we doing. Why are we how are we still sneaking? So as cool as the actual action sequence was,
yeah,
I was in my feelings the entire time.
That ruined it.
But what you said, I was upset. I was too busy being upset at the fact that just happened.
They tried to make it seem extra stealthy, but his big ass just fell down and made all this noise.
Bruh, pop Slim and just run in that joint and they using silenced weapons and whatever, and that's cool. Everybody on the outside not hearing it. But for them using silenced weapons, my guy, she's inside of a meat locker. You know how thick the door on a meat locker is? And she can hear these Bammers shooting silenced weapons from inside the meat locker. I'm having issues. I'm having issues. You know what I'm saying? And I can appreciate that Gravik like one-handed a man onto a meat hook. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. we doing some things. You know what I'm saying? They went in there, 2 men, clean house, right? Punished like 6 people. Showed the fact that, yes, Skrulls are stronger than humans again. Let's not forget this. They got some additional abilities here. And she's just like, I'm gonna go. But I also don't understand why somebody didn't just go in there and see who was in there. She couldn't have gotten but so far, right? Now they don't know how long she's been gone. They're there to get their man, so cool. Let's get our man and get him out of here. She's so cool, bro.
Yeah.
She's so cool. But I have a question.
What is it?
Is the blue liquid she shot into that man Kree blood?
Could be.
Is it Project Tahiti, bro?
I was thinking the Tahiti thing actually.
It's not Tahiti, but I can't see it being Kree.
Hold on. Here's what's wild, bro. Disney Plus, in other territories other than the U.S.,
of course,
put out an official watch list for like how to get ready
for this
for Secret Invasion. Let me read it to you, buddy.
There's a shield on that now.
It's gotta
be. The full list is as follows: Iron Man 2, Captain America: The First Avenger, The Avengers, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain Marvel, and What If?
Ooh. What if?
What if? Which
That's
we know is
interesting.
canon.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Why is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on this list? There are rumors that Quake is supposed to cameo in this show.
Yeah.
Hey, that man Gravik was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's probably where he got the skills and everything. Quake was alongside him. I don't know why they split, but this dude was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, most certainly.
Come on, Jokes. Swing for the stars. Forget these fences, bro. Swing for the stars. You know what I mean? Yes. Why not? Gravik knows Coulson personally or whatever. I don't know, dog.
Yeah.
He was one of the Fitzsimmonses. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Like, that actually, I'm not gonna lie, makes me even more like anticipate the rest of these episodes. Like, where does Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and where does What If come into play? If you put those on like your
What If
watch list, get ready for that.
And that's the thing that's also weird to me is that, like, this is an official list from Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But why isn't it like that in all territories? Like, why didn't they say that?
That also was interesting. Yeah.
Everywhere. So
I want to go to Disney Plus and look at this show right now, see if they updated something.
That's it. That's dope and interesting, Gage. I'm glad you brought that up. Wow. But after this action sequence,
a needle full of blue juice, bro.
Yes,
where
the blue juice.
Why does she have it? How does she know about it?
Hey. So now that you say that, so I just pulled up Secret Invasion. I'm going over to the suggested tab.
Mm-hmm.
And in the suggested tab, we have Captain Marvel, What If, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America the Winter Soldier, The Avengers, Captain America the First Avenger, Iron Man 2, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey, dog, stop playing with me, dog.
Okay.
They playing around.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where those tie in. I'm so interested to see.
This is the thing. Look, here's the thing. It might not have nothing to do with the blue juice, dog. One of the biggest key factors in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as that show was coming to an end was LMDs, life model decoys. They were doing full-on like versions of themselves that were fake, like robot joints, which Nick Fury is in the comics notorious for doing. But also, Maria Hill also was using life model decoys. And when in the comics, Nick Fury went to Hill to tell her, hey, this Skrull thing is happening. They've already invaded. Told her to start using more life model decoys to go out and whatever, so that she would know, what to trust and who to trust and whatever. Bruh.
LMD in the first episode?
If Maria Hill was a life model decoy in that joint, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Listen, I give you an 8 on that episode. I may even give you that 9.
Oh, no. If we come back around to that, stuff's going to get ramped up.
I'm pushing that shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. It would be crazy if they used the fact, because again, that was like a full season or like half a season. Because I think it was the same season as Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And they did it like half and half. They did like the first season, then they took like the season hiatus thing. They were doing that weird thing with TV, where they would take like a few weeks off or months off.
Ghost Rider was too expensive. Let's do something else.
And the second half of the joint was like the life model decoy, and it's like, bruh, like that, because LMDs were such a big part of Secret Invasion in the comics, it wouldn't surprise me. And the fact that they're like, you should watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you're watching this, or if you want to get ready for this or whatever, that's crazy to me. Who knows? Wow. But it, like, the way the wheels are turning for me when I'm watching this, I'm like, hey, dog, what if Hill wasn't really, because of course all of us are like, she's a Skrull. Like, what if she was a Skrull? But she didn't change back, so clearly she's not a Skrull. Hey, but dog, if she's a life model decoy, and if Fury just allowed her mother to be mad at him and allowed, whatever, for real, that might not even be the real Fury. It might be a decoy.
Could be. He can
still be up never came back down. The real Fury is still up in space.
Bro, listen, because I'm going to tell
that's
you,
the light
Fury be getting around. How is this dude on a plane in Moscow How is my man at like wherever in the US or in London where her body is being shipped to? How is my man sitting down with Rhodey at the same, like,
Yeah, like
everywhere.
you're moving around real easily for somebody who's like number one everybody's looking for, and you're a black man in Moscow. Like,
you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's just there could be some other
Things
tomfoolery
yeah.
happening here, and that would be a little incredible. But we only have 6 episodes, bro. It can't get
Four more.
so thick.
This next
You know what I'm saying?
it's going to be the one that is going to.
I'm with Gage what he said last episode. I think this is kind of like the start of everything, and then we'll see stuff play out through other movies and shows, and somehow we'll get to like maybe the inevitable season 2 or whatever will be like the conclusion of it or something like that.
I can see Gravik dying or whatever by the end of this joint. But
Right.
clearly there's still gonna be scrolls everywhere. You can't eradicate
A million.
999,999 of them left. So
yeah, exactly, bro.
someone
Yeah.
can pick up.
Yeah, but as we come to the close, pretty much of this episode,
Hold on. Also, something just dawned on me. In She-Hulk, the after credit joint of the very last episode, Hulk had a son,
mhm,
right?
yes,
In the comics, though, he's part
Skrull.
Skrull.
okay.
That's enough. All right,
He's down the rabbit hole.
continue. Yep. Before I start, yeah, we already an hour into this. Something's about to, like, the gears were starting to go, bro. Like, continue, Sam.
But yes, after they go in and rescue their guy, Gravik obviously asks him, "Did you say anything?" He's like, "Nah, I didn't say anything." We know he's lying, and I'm pretty sure in this moment you can see the look on Gravik's face. He knows you're lying, you know. So they take their. I thought they was gonna kill him right there, but no, they grab him, pull their guy out, they get in the car, they're driving off, and it doesn't feel good when they're driving. It's dark. They're in the woods. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Wait. Take a step back, because they was going to the safe house. They was going to the safe house before they hit the woods, and they was like, you know, how did they find the safe house? And they all, the two of them in the front, like Gravik and Dude, just turned and quickly like glanced at each other, and then they like, just keep driving.
Yeah, guy.
Just hold on, though.
Mhm.
Hold on, though. Another thing that we kind of glanced over. When they were in there doing all that, shooting and fighting or whatever to get Slim, and he told Gaia, stay in the car, keep the joint running.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
She was with the other dude who she's been backing up. Like, I think he's really
Yeah.
good. He should be, whatever. She got out of the car.
Yeah,
She got out of the car and went around the corner and told him she was going to the back of the building. But she didn't go around the back.
Nah,
She went to the side and got on her phone and was talking to somebody in Russian. And I'm gonna tell you what, y'all know I watch everything with subtitles because they be leaking plot. They didn't show what she was saying. Who was she talking to? Who was she giving him from? I have no idea.
They
Like,
learned
remember that shit?
finally.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But more importantly, who was she rapping with? Because she was speaking in Russian. So, like, one, why would she be speaking to her father? I don't feel like it was him. Because we did see
Right.
him have, like, a quick conversation
With
on the phone with somebody.
with the woman that had left the meeting that they didn't kill.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So we see him. We know that he's still doing something. We don't see him no more for the rest of the episode.
No.
She gets out and makes a call to someone.
Mhm.
Why is she making it? Why is she doing it in the middle of this?
All peculiar.
Like,
No clue.
it would have been different if, like, because the other thing was when what's her name went in to do the interrogation and take over the interrogation, she said to Slim, I know it's only a matter of time before your people come to get you. So our time is short. I need to do this. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
Mhm.
And she asked my man beforehand, where's the escape hatch in here? She knew she wasn't going back out the way she came. So my question is she in contact with Gaia in some way or something like that? It doesn't seem to me that Gaia would have been talking to her, but maybe she was talking to somebody else in Russian who's the person who she gave the phone to them to like, hey, tell them I'm, you know what I mean? When she gave him the phone and she's like, you know, like, because again, I'm like, why would she hand him the phone if she's as high up as she is? They kind of were like, who are you? Why are you here? You know what I mean? Or whatever. Who is Gaia talking to? Who did she speak to in Russian, and why did she feel the need to get out of the car right now to say whatever it was she was saying? You know what I'm saying? And tell Slim she's going around to the back of the building. And if at some point, for any reason, that dude ever says to Gravik, well, while she was out in the such and such, and he's like, what you mean? When she was
I thought about that.
I told her stay in the car, and when I got back in the car, she was in the car. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. I don't know, dog. Also, I'm with you, Sin. I feel like Gravik wanted to put two in him right there because he knew Slim was lying. But I also felt like they needed to find out exactly what he told, or exactly how much information he had given up. But two, if they kill him right there, he's gonna turn into a Skrull. They're gonna have to remove the body anyway.
So let's let him walk him on his own.
Let's give him the car. Let's ask, just poke it a couple questions just to double check and make sure. And then once they got what they needed, they escort him into the woods.
But here's the other thing. I also feel like there's still some big tension between him and his second in command, right? And this dude seemed to be like one of his men, though. Like, this is one of his guys. Like, because he seemed really blown that his man was hurt. And the look on his face when Gravik was asking him, like, yo, did you talk? What did you tell him? And he's like, I didn't tell him nothing. He looks very concerned for Slim. You know what I'm saying? But then when they get out there, Gravik ain't getting out and killing Slim, but clearly Gravik has no problem killing people. Now, he might have an issue killing Skrulls. That could be a thing, right?
I think that has to do with it. Yeah,
but it's still, you gonna do it with my weapon. They pull over and he hands his gun to Slim, which is like, why when Slim clearly has a gun? Because he was just inside
and then shoot up people with you.
You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Gravik wants you to know, I'm gonna make you do this. He's exercising power. I'm about to make you kill your own man, because that's how serious this is. And it seems to me that not only is Gaia afraid of Gravik in terms of what is he going to do if he finds out, oh my God, I hope he doesn't know, blah, 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 but also just sort of the ruthlessness of, I'm going to make him kill. I'm gonna make him kill his own homie. You know what I'm saying, or whatever, because you need to understand, there is no, you know what I mean?
This is real for me. We don't have a home to go back to. This is ours now. Like,
this is ours, and we're gonna take it. And this is war. So even somebody who's supposed to be on us, like, if he gave up them secrets, bro, and my man said he was like, Gravik's gonna kill me, and she was like, he's not gonna get a chance to.
That's cute.
So you got me or you got him. I just found that like interesting that Gravik like doesn't seem to mind getting his hands dirty, but in a situation like that, is still showing, exercising like, I'm in control. And again, this is a person who just had a conversation with the doctors, like, your fearless leader or whatever, your man not always right. Like, he don't know everything. And again, there's some dissension there, and Gravik seems to feel the need to be like, nah, dog, but I'm the guy. So here's the joint. Go take care of Slim, because you already know. You know what I mean? And it puts that fear in Gaia and in the new dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you see it all over their face.
So I think that's an important moment that probably will kind of circle back around.
But like you said, his man took him to the woods, double tapped him, and like I said, we close out the episode. We shift back over to Fury, who goes find a car he has stashed someplace, gets in the car. Classic Fury, of course, he has something everywhere for whatever he needs. Starts driving off maybe to the countryside or something like that, wherever he is out in Europe. Pulls up to what looks like a nice house, goes inside, walks in, place looks cool. We see right before they know there's a Skrull in there, like cooking dinner, prepping some food or something like that. I'm like, okay, he's going to visit one of his Skrull friends that he knows or something like that to lay low or something right now. When he comes around the corner, though, where the kitchen is, they've shapeshifted into a black woman. Like, oh, okay, cool. And then she says, no, turn around, you forgot something. He's like, oh, like, my bad. Rolls over, picks up a wedding ring, walks over there and puts it on and kisses her. And that's pretty much how the episode goes off. So apparently, we've just met Nick Fury's wife, who is also a Skrull.
I feel like we met the Skrull. I feel like the wife got replaced. Because at first I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if Nick Fury was married to a Skrull. I was like, you know what? I think that's fine. But I think that his actual wife, she's replaced.
And that's also the Skrull that introduced him to gravity back in the day.
Yes!
What is going on,
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bruh.
Yeah. This was one of the ones at the end I was like, really? I was like, this how y'all gonna end it? Okay. Gotta wait till next week. But
so Joe, you think Nick Fury has no idea that he's married to a Skrull?
I don't think so. Because I feel like if he's clearly open, he's fine with the Skrull. Why does she need to revert back? Like, I think he knows.
Right.
I think he knows, kind of, and he's gonna look, but he may have gotten at one point. But
no, I don't think I got. I think he just,
he just floating with it.
I mean, Nick Fury does get down. I air quote that.
Hey, listen,
like he has gotten down.
Yeah, I laughed because I'm trying to remember if it was it Kirk or was it West? One or two made a comment on the MCU. I was like, my man getting his Captain Kirk on. It was like, for a lot of y'all that probably went over your head. As soon as I saw that comment, I was like,
that's hilarious. That is
because
hilarious.
He's also getting his Star-Lord on.
Yes, because we know, Star-Lord likes to dip.
He be tangling.
For real.
He be getting tangled, bro. His entanglement
hey, that's how it opens with Guardians of the Galaxy.
He be getting tangled.
You got a random youngin in the bed.
Listen, I don't know if Fury knows. But to be honest with you, and here's the crazy thing about it, I'm not sure if I think it's more interesting if he knows versus if he doesn't know. I don't know which one of them joints is more interesting.
I'm going with I think he knows.
And I feel you. I love that you're going with you think he knows, and Joseph's going with he don't have no idea, and I'm just down here
in the middle,
like,
yeah.
Neither one of them don't spicy.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Because for real, if he been off world for like 5 years, bro,
just been chilling.
Do she just be coming up to visit him? Do he be making like conjugal? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't know.
It's so regular for him to for her to come to
Yeah, it was like
listen,
coming home from work every day. It was like just a.
Right, it didn't seem like you've been gone.
So
which
maybe
feels like Fury might be a life model decoy. And Slim be coming home all the time. Like who we saw go and open the thing and get in that car and drive. We ain't see him drive it out of the joint. We didn't see him park it. We didn't see him get out of the car to walk in the house. We see him walk in the house. But what if, they said, watch, what if that Fury we just seen walk in, what, dog, I don't know, bruh. I don't know.
Well, I do know one thing. Hopefully we find out next week. Fingers crossed. We get some answers.
Dog, next week's episode is a full-on flashback, and we don't learn nothing about what just happened.
That's going to get the lowest score. 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'ma be steaming.
Yeah, so
Willie, bro.
So let's get our scores for this one. Jokes, where you at?
I'm still at my 8.
Okay, where are you at, Gage?
I'm at an 8, but it's pending. You know what I'm saying? Like,
when this whole series wraps up,
I feel you. I'm in the same place. I'm still at an 8, but it's definitely pending more after this week's conversation. For a fact.
LMD Jones is going to. Hey, listen, that's going to be definitive out this show that we find out.
Big facts.
payoff, bro.
But You guys know what it is. We'll find out next week together and be back here at the same time to talk about it with you guys. We'll see. But until then, for myself, for Gage, for Jokes, that has been episode 2, Spoiler Boys for the Secret Invasion. So until next time, we'll catch you later. Deuces.
Loading snacks.